Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. We are pleased to be joined by pleased to be joined by the one, the only Harry Loomis. What can I call you now? The co-managing editor of the Podium Finish. Is that your new title?
Yep, that's correct. That's the new position. So
I know you guys have been shuffling some things around over there, so but congrats on that. And before we get into the obviously the reason why you're on here, um, but just to talk about your time with TPF and all that fun stuff.
yeah, it's been really cool. I kind of came into NASCAR media doing my own thing and not really knowing exactly what I was doing. Yeah, I've been working under Rob Tiongson and our good friend Nathan Solomon up
Yep.
until he took a new position this past week. So we're excited for him. He's going to do great things over at Speed Sport. But it's been really cool to kind of get to work with a group like that, and it's kind of changed my perspective on how I cover races. I used to just do the general race recap, but there's what is there 36 charters. There's at least 36 drivers every race, and there's 36 stories to tell. So it's been really fun for me to kind of find those different stories. And this guy might have finished fourth, but there's a lot of things that happened there. So tell his story just as much as you want to tell the winner's story. So I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I don't plan on calling it good anytime soon. I want to keep going.
Plus you got two other plus you got 38 plus teams in Xfinity, and then you got 36 plus teams in the truck series. So plus you
Exactly.
got those and whatever else you decide you want to do over there. So congrats to you on that. But obviously the big news, if you haven't heard today, no, we won't react to obviously there is big news. Yes, Angel Hernandez is leaving. Yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. And everyone is having their day of celebration, and that is pretty big news. But obviously, the big news is Stewart Haas Racing is going to be closing its doors at the end of the 2024 season, ending a 16-year run with the team that began in 2009. We obviously we've known this was potentially coming, but I know employees were informed today that they're not going to know what this team is shutting down at the end of the year.
Yeah,
So
for sure. It's a sad day for sure. And you're right. I don't think anyone is too surprised by this news. But anytime you see a race team close up shop, it's a tough day. There's a lot of good people at that organization that are going to be job hunting at the end of the year. There's four very good drivers over there. Well, six if you include Cole Custer and Riley Herbst that are going to have to find new homes for 2025 and onward. But they've got a lot of talented people over there, and I think the cream's going to rise to the crop. And I think I think the people that want to stay in racing will find a home somewhere. But it is tough to see. Like you said, on we were talking about it in our group chat a little bit. The business of NASCAR now with the charters, it can be pretty difficult. We've seen a lot of teams closing, but I think the other thing is your heart has to be 100% into this thing if you're going to have a profitable team. And you know, full credit to what Gene Haas and Tony Stewart are doing. They're both off on their own ventures, and from the sounds of it, they're both pretty successful. But they couldn't give NASCAR their full attention. Gene Haas is with F1. Tony Stewart had SRX, and now he's working with NHRA, racing full time now. I think the time is right for them to sell off and kind of uh, recoup what they otherwise might be losing.
yeah, and of course, outside of the drivers, don't forget about there's also a ton of people that are, a ton of crew members that are also losing their jobs too. So they'll have to find a new home. And obviously, I know that it was said that Stuart Haas will, help them find, new homes for next year and all that stuff. But that's not just the crews, but all the administrative staff, all the executives, all the logistical staff. There's a lot of people that that are needed to run a race team and all that. So obviously they're going to have to also find new jobs as well.
Yeah, I think the two things they have going for them is one, I think one of the best connections you could probably have in this sport is Tony Stewart.
Yeah.
All the ties he has to other teams in the series. I think if there's one guy you want going to bat for you, Tony Stewart's a pretty good guy for that. And secondly, with them selling, that means there's going to be 4 new teams opening up that are going to need new crew guys. Does 2311 get a third charter? If so, they're going to have a whole new team. There's a bunch of positions there that are going to be available. There's going to be a young driver that's hungry and motivated to earn their spot. So as much as it's a shame that they'll be going elsewhere and it'll be the end of an era for Stewart Haas Racing, it's still there's still going to be 36 competitive cars there, and there's going to be people that are needed to fill them. So I think these guys, if they want to stay in NASCAR, I think they should be all right.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is, looking back, and obviously we'll obviously talk about this more once, it nears their last race. Like we remember, I think Fiel and I did a Ganassi going away store video as well. But, obviously we'll talk more about the memories that everybody has with this team toward the end of the year. But, I'll ask you this: what will you most remember, about Stewart Haas Racing? Because, this was a team like 6 years ago. They had all 4 cars in the playoffs. 4 years ago, they had all 4 cars in the playoffs. All 4 drivers, and Kevin Harvick was coming off 9 wins and all that stuff. And this team just came off winning an Xfinity title just last year. So, what will you most remember about this race team?
There's a lot of moments to choose from. The past couple years obviously haven't been great for Stewart Haas Racing. No one's going to try to act like they've been better than they are. Um, I think a couple that stick out: Kevin Harvick getting that win at Michigan, having been almost 2 years since he gone to victory lane. You can tell that meant a lot for him. It kind of did give you that feeling of this might be his last win, and then all of a sudden he won next week at Richmond. You're like, who knows what the future holds for this guy. But I think if there's one visualization that I'm going to keep with me to remember Stewart Haas Racing, it's Tony Gibson just going absolutely bananas at the end of the 2017 Daytona 500, where Kurt Busch ended up winning it. Just seeing the pure jubilation that race brings and that win brings. I can't remember I think it was an MRN pit reporter. I can't remember who it was, but Tony like grabbing him, like shaking him by the collar and everything like that. Kurt Busch going crazy. That was a really cool moment. I'll always remember that with them. I think it's that moment and probably Tony Stewart's championship in 2011. Um, you know, it's tough to see them go, but their highs were absolutely as high as you can get in the sport. So I think I'll remember this team very fondly as at their best, one of the top 3 teams in the NASCAR Cup Series for sure.
Okay, so we're not even halfway through this season. They're not going away just yet. They still have the rest of the season to finish. And this is a team with a lot of new faces, but now with this news, with these 4 teams and plus the 2 Xfinity teams, and plus also don't forget they also supply they have an alliance with several Ford teams in the Xfinity series like RSS and AM Racing. What do you expect from these guys the rest of the year?
Well, I think the thing they're going to say is it's business as usual. We're going to keep doing what got us here. But I have to imagine in the back of your mind, there's got to be some feeling of I've got something to prove here, and I just hope that doesn't lead to them, going over the top, making bad decisions or being reckless or anything like that. I think right now the playoffs started, I'd have to look at the standings, but Chase Briscoe's right on that verge of being in the playoffs. He's had a very solid year so far. Noah Gragson has been one of the most impressive drivers so far this year. Josh Berry's really turning a corner lately. I think they have the talent, they have the drivers, they have the people. I just want to see them continue to build. Honestly, it sounds weird with a team that's going away, but all these guys are young. The longest tenured guy that they have is Chase Briscoe, and it's only been 4 years. I just want to see them continue to take those steps and maybe put themselves in a position where they can be a package deal going to another team. There's already talks about where all 4 of those drivers are going to go, but if they continue to run at the top of their game, they're going to make that decision. They're going to make life a lot easier on themselves. So I just want to see them. I don't want to see anyone get dejected. I don't want to see anyone get discouraged or anything like that. I just want to see them continue to just go out and race, because that's what Stewart Haas is at the end of the day. They're no nonsense racers. They're going to go give you 110% every week.
Yeah, and it's going to be even the intensity is going to increase with them because you know when you're not going to be back, you wanna go out and you want to prove yourself, and that's I think what these guys are going to go out and do. It's gonna be fun watching the rest of the year, and I know three cars are going to have the same sponsor this weekend at Gateway, which is your home, where you call home as of right now. But it's gonna be exciting to see how this team does the rest of the year, and it's definitely gonna be. And we'll obviously talk more about about this team once the end of the season gets closer. But let's preview Gateway to finish off. You're going to be there for covering it for the podium finish. Got a Yeah, you of course got the truck race, the last of a 5 race journey. Only 4 races left to go in the playoffs. Left to go in the regular season. Hard to believe we're only 4 races until the Truck Series playoffs begins. Just tells you how this season is flying by. And then of course the Cup race on Sunday. What are we going to expect with both races in your area this weekend? Plus, of course, the Xfinity Series is at Portland.
Yeah, I always kind of expect Gateway to run kind of like a little bit of a mixture between New Hampshire and Phoenix. The turns are very similar to Phoenix, while you got the long straightaways, kind of like New Hampshire with basically a Martins like twice the size of Martinsville. It's definitely its own unique track though. We've kind of seen some guys, you immediately think of in the Cup Series. You think Kyle Busch, you think Ryan Blaney. They've been up front both races. Joey Logano won the first run. Denny Hamlin's been up front. Ross Chastain, at least has made a name for himself. That's where that Denny Hamlin feud started back in 2022.
Yeah.
And in the Truck Series, they've been going there since 2014. Back then Gateway was a standalone race when they didn't have the Cup Series. You saw a lot of young drivers kind of step up. There's a big trend. I think 3 of the first 6 winners, or I think it was 4 of the first 6 winners, and when it came back in 2014, it was their second career victory. It was Bubba Wallace got a second, Cole Custer got a second, Christopher Bell got a second, Ross Chastain got a second, and in that interim, you saw Justin Haley get his first career win. John Hunter Nemechek won in 2017. That was only his 4th career win. So it was really an opportunity for young up-and-coming drivers to make a name for themselves and kind of have a statement performance. We really saw that with a couple guys that I listed there. As for a pick, I'll give you a pick. I don't even know if you asked for it, but I'll give it to you because that's my favorite thing to do. I don't know if this will count for my league pick, so I might be giving it away to whoever picks first this year. Well, that's too bad. In that case, I should just pick the guys I think are going to finish last. No.
Leave that to Brock Beard.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not taking any shots at Brock Beard, but we can save that for someone other than me. In the Truck Series, I'm going to go with Christian Eckes. He's been close a handful of times in St. Louis. Goes all the way back to 2018 when he was driving that 46 truck for Kyle Busch. He always runs up front here. He's had a fantastic start to the year. I don't expect that to change anytime soon. I think he'll finally get it done here in St. Louis. And in the Cup Series, I made my picks. I made a pick of all 36 races before the year.
Yes,
and I think I'm 3 of 14 so far this year. I'm actually doing pretty decent on that. My pick, he's coming off 2 bad races, but this track has been good to him. Like I said, I'm going to take Ryan Blaney to get the win on Sunday. He's got 2 top 5s the first 2 races here. He was spun the first year and came back to finish either 3rd or 4th. And same thing, he was running up front, won a stage in 2023. So I think he's going to get the monkey off his back and kind of rebound from 2 bad races and finally get his first win of the season.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, that's going to do it. Loomis, thanks so much for the time as always. And we look forward to your coverage of the 2 races this weekend for the podium finish at Gateway.
Yeah, thanks for the time, man. I always appreciate it.